From the heart of the Space City to the heart of Gen Z, welcome to Next Gen Conversation. Not Dad's Talk Radio. Ethan talks to you about the issues and events that matter to our generation. This is the Next Gen Report with Ethan Buchanan.
Hey everybody, welcome. Welcome to the Next Gen Report with me, Ethan Buchanan. It's cooler when he says it. I don't know how some people are gifted with voices like that, but you could ask that guy to record himself saying literally whatever you want over whatever backing track you want, and it is going to sound awesome. Meanwhile, I try to do it and I sound like a dork. That's fine. Some people are blessed with certain things, some people aren't. It's whatever. Anyway, welcome, guys. Thank you for watching or tuning in or listening, whatever it is you're doing. We're available everywhere, by the way. So if you're listening right now, you can go watch if you prefer that. The Next Gen Report or Ethan Buchanan. Search it on YouTube. You'll find the show. Or, of course, at _Ethan Buchanan on X. I upload the entire video of the show there on X, on Twitter. So you can find it right there. Very easy to find. Very fun to watch. At least I think. I enjoy watching it. But maybe that's just because I made it. It's like a baby, you know, I can't call my own child ugly. But anyway, what do we got going on? We've got a lot. I'm going to start off by talking about some more fun stuff because we're going to have to talk about some really serious stuff and I'm going to get very worked up and pissed off about it later. I can already feel it boiling up inside of me. So we're going to start by talking about the fun stuff and then the hard hitting, heavy stuff that'll be a little bit later in the show. So let's start off with some bad news and then some good news, and then we'll just have a fun chat. For starters, we all remember the Cracker Barrel debacle. It wasn't that long ago. I talked about it a lot. You can go find those shows wherever. All right. I feel like we had all kind of collectively as a society come to the decision that, hey, corporate minimalist logo rebrands are not good ever when anybody does it. Right? I thought we all kind of cleared that up. Cracker Barrel did it, everybody hated it, and they undid it. Apparently, the city of Austin didn't get that message. They immediately turned around and did the same thing Cracker Barrel did. This is the city of Austin, Texas. Looks like a homeless tent. Austin residents blast updated $1.1 million city logo. First of all, that is a bonkers price tag. Here's the logo. It's literally just a stylized letter A. And by stylized, I mean it's just lines. If you're watching, you can see it. If you're listening, you can't. Go look it up. I mean, I could have done this for free. I would not have charged someone money for this. And the city of Austin paid $1.1 million. That is bonkers. And on top of being bonkers, it's an insane waste of taxpayer money. Imagine you're the Austin city populace, the voters, and you realize this is what your tax dollars are being spent on. You can see the old logo before. It's actually kind of cool. It's got a little lamp on it. It's got a cross up at the top. There's a little banner hanging down. There's something going on. It's got personality. It says City of Austin, founded in 1839. It's nice, right? It gives you maybe some sort of hint about what the culture and history of the city is. Some identity, right? Versus this one, just, I don't know how to describe this other than awful. It's just awful. And they paid $1.1 million for it. That's unbelievable. Anyway, I mentioned Cracker Barrel, and we had talked about this before about how their logo was only half the problem. The other half of the problem was their corporate minimalist rebrand that they did of the interior of the restaurants. Well, they're walking that back now too. No, Cracker Barrel does not need my location. Get out of here. I will find your location, Cracker Barrel. So we had talked about how bad the Cracker Barrel interior redesign was, and you can go watch that video. You can go see or listen or whatever. You can actually see the side by side of the old Cracker Barrel and the new Cracker Barrel, and we complained about that as well. And they're walking that back too, which is good. Here's the statement they put out on their website. You shared your voices in recent weeks, not just on our logo, but also on our restaurants. We're continuing to listen. Today, we're suspending our remodels. If your restaurant hasn't been remodeled, you don't need to worry. It won't be. Great. Great. That's all we wanted. Leave good enough alone. We heard clearly that modern remodel designs do not reflect what you love about Cracker Barrel. No freaking kidding. We had tested this design in only 4 out of 660 locations, and we won't continue with it. Good. What's shocking here is, if you remember, the Cracker Barrel CEO was going on and on about how much people love this. Remember, we played that cut on ABC. Again, go back and listen to it. She was talking about how, oh, everybody loves these remodels. We have people coming up to us and saying, hey, how do I get a remodel at my store? So it kind of looks like you were lying the whole time, but we knew you were. The vintage Americana you love will always be there. The rocking chairs on the porch, our fireplaces, and peg games. Unique treasures in our gift shop and antiques pulled straight from our warehouse in Lebanon, Tennessee. We want you to have a warm, welcoming space for friends and family to gather and enjoy our craveable food and country hospitality. You know what? Good job, Cracker Barrel. Credit where it's due. They made a mistake. They walked it back. I can respect that. I do respect that. I do. I will reward Cracker Barrel with my business. I was talking with my wife about this earlier today. I saw these headlines, or I guess this would have been yesterday when they announced all this, but I was telling her, we need to go to Cracker Barrel. We do. Because it's one thing to look at a company and say, hey, why are you doing this thing? We hate it. We're not going to shop here anymore. That's the stick, right? You then have to counter that with a carrot. There has to be an alternative if you want these companies to actually do what you want, right? If you don't want companies to go woke, you not only have to punish the companies that do go woke, but you have to reward the companies that don't. Cracker Barrel kind of dipped a toe into the wokeness, and now they're pulling it back out. Fair enough. You tested the waters. I'm not going to fight you on that. What's done is done. But you're walking it back. You're bringing back what we love about Cracker Barrel. And I like that. I do. So I will be going to Cracker Barrel probably sometime in the next day or two just to reward them with a little bit of my business. And also because this has been a good reminder that I actually do really enjoy Cracker Barrel. And I haven't had their food in a while. I want to go back and I want to give it a try. So I'm going to be doing that. I encourage you to too. If this was an issue that you got up in arms about, you threw a temper tantrum online, just like I did, about Cracker Barrel's rebrand, now that they're walking it back, give them the carrot. You gave them the stick. Now go give them the carrot. I think that's fair. All right, we have got quite a bit coming up. In just a minute, we're going to be talking about some listener feedback that we got. So that'll be fun. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this quick break with more of the Next Gen Report. Alrighty. I've got something that I've been wanting to kind of talk about for a long time. And it's an area where I kind of split off from a lot of the kind of more mainstream, kind of right-wing base. I don't like the idea necessarily of term limits. I understand why we need it for the presidency. That's a lot of power to have concentrated in one place. So for one person to just hang on to it forever, I don't know if that's necessarily healthy, even if the people really want that person to, right? So, hey, 2 terms, 8 years, you're done. I think that kind of makes sense. I like that idea. But for the kind of senators and the representatives of the world, those kind of lower level elected officials, you always hear how much we need term limits. And they'll point to examples of just ancient people that have been in office forever. Nancy Pelosi comes to mind. The dude out of Kentucky, the turtle, Mitch McConnell, comes to mind. And there are a bunch of other examples of people that have just been in office forever. And they're terrible people. They, don't really do a good job. There's serious questions that need to be asked about their health or mental capacity or what have you. And they'll say, oh, we need term limits. Maybe, but I tend to just think we need smarter voters, right? And I posted this on Twitter, and I got some interesting feedback, and I want to talk about it now. I've told you for a number of times on this show, go follow me on Twitter, interact with me on Twitter, share with me your thoughts. This is why I need content. So a bunch of people are going to become content today, and we're going to have an actual discussion because I got some interesting feedback that I liked on this. So we're going to talk about it. So here's the post. Hot take. Term limits are a cop-out for lazy voters who want to complain but don't want to put in the work to research and support primary candidates. And I do truly believe that because, listen, here's an objective fact. It's a lot easier to say, oh gosh, I can't believe so-and-so is at it again. We need term limits to get them out of office. It's a lot easier to say that on X or Facebook or the radio or wherever you say it than to actually sit down and say, okay, who is actually all of the best candidates out of all of the people running, and how are they going to perform in office based on their past record, and what kind of data do we have on that to kind of gauge how we think so-and-so is going to vote on X issue in office, and then to go out and actually do the work of door knocking and campaigning and calling people and saying, hey, I think you should vote for this person and here's why. That's difficult. I know because I've done it. I've worked on political campaigns. Not a lot, but I've done it quite a bit. I've done that kind of door-to-door, door knocking and walking up to voters and saying, hey, here's this candidate. Here's why you should vote for them. I'm by no means an expert at it. I haven't done it extensively, but I've done it. I have experience. I know it's hard. However, it's necessary. I think the call for term limits, that's just people who don't want to do that work and don't want to be responsible for it, trying to find a cop-out. I believe that. So let's talk about some of the feedback that we got. Zabon Hurricane on X said, how about the opposite? Snap elections on demand. Make it so that with a petition, any representative, senator, governor, or the president can be replaced at any time. I don't hate the idea, especially not for those lower level offices. But like I said to Zabon, or however you pronounce his name, I think for the office of the presidency, that should be a little bit more stable. Just because that's a lot more going on, right? That's thinking a lot more long term. You need a while to put into place plans at the presidential level and then see the results. So I don't necessarily think that that's fair for the presidency. But for a state representative maybe, or even a representative in the U.S. Congress, if they vote a way you don't like and you want to say, okay, I'm recalling them right now, I don't hate that idea. I believe the system in the UK is somewhat similar to that, but not exactly. I'm not an expert on the parliamentary system, but I think they do something kind of similar to a certain extent. I don't hate that idea for certain levels. John Watts says, your comment has merit, but we need some limits and be able to avoid people hanging on for 25, 30, or even 40 years, and certainly not 50 like Sleepy Joe. Okay, but do we? And here's the counterpoint that I always raise to this. What if somebody really likes their representative? What if someone's representative is doing a very good job, right? Let's say, for example, Thomas Massie. You can think whatever you like about Thomas Massie. He said some things even recently that I don't agree with. I tend to like Thomas Massie quite a bit, and I know he's very popular in his district. So let's say, for example, and this is all hypothetical, that Thomas Massie's voters keep liking what he's doing, what he's standing for, how he's voting in Congress, and they keep electing him. And nobody else is coming up that those voters like. Should they be forced to get rid of Thomas Massie if they want him to represent them and then he's doing a good job? I would say probably not. If you like your representative, you should be able to keep your representative. I, for one, really like Ted Cruz as a senator here in Texas. Unless he does something drastic that he hasn't done yet, I'll probably vote for him as long as he's up and nobody better runs, right? And anytime he has a primary challenger, I'll take a look at that primary challenger. If he does something that I don't like and he doesn't have a primary challenger, I'll start looking for people who are considering it and encouraging them to run. But as of right now, I like Ted Cruz, and if he runs again, I'll vote for him again because I think he's doing a good job. He's representing me as a Texan fairly well. So that's always my kind of, what do you do in those situations? Why would you force someone to get rid of a representative they like? And if you have a good reason or a good example, by all means, reach out to me. Let me know. There's my X page right here @_ Ethan Buchanan. Give me a comment. Shoot me a DM. I'd love to hear from you. You can email me, by the way, thenextgenreport@gmail.com. Shoot me an email there. Let me know. I'll read it. I pinky promise. I don't get that many emails. John Donahue said, I think term limits and some serious campaign finance reform is what could fix the broken political landscape. People are allowed to become entrenched, and their only motivation is re-election to hold on to power. That does not serve people. It only serves candidates. And he's right. That is a real problem. People just becoming entrenched in politics and not doing anything to serve the people. Here's the thing, though. As entrenched as you are, you can always lose. It may be very difficult to lose, but it can still be done. At the end of the day, if enough voters say you are not doing a good job, any person, no matter how long they've been there, no matter how big their war chest is, eventually will lose an election if they do a bad enough job. That's just true. I think this is another example of somebody going, oh, well, we can't primary so-and-so. They're too entrenched. They have too big of a war chest. Okay, well, have you even tried? Have you even tried? Have you even tried to go and donate your time and your money to an opposition candidate in the primaries? Oftentimes, the answer is no. So again, that's why I go to say, I think it's a cop-out. I think it's a cop-out. Lazy voters, aka average IQ people who just want to live their lives. And hey, if that's the case, you don't have to tune into politics at all. But you don't get to complain. If you just want to live your life and you don't want to focus on politics at all, that's just fine. I admire you. I wish I was the same way. I'm addicted to politics like it's crack and I hate it. But at the same time, don't go complaining. Don't sit there and say, oh, I've been stuck with this same representative for years and years and years and I want a new one, when you wouldn't take the time to even go campaign. You don't get to complain if that's your attitude. You can have that attitude. It's fine. I encourage it. But don't complain. And don't sit there and blame term limits or whatever because you won't do the work. That's not your fault. Or that's not term limits' fault. Anyway, we've got a lot to talk about in the next couple of segments, so stay tuned. This is gonna be the heavy one. So I don't want to spoil it. We'll be right back. All right, I'm warning you now. We're going to be covering heavy topics in this segment, probably the next. I'm going to get mad about this. You've been warned. If you're a sensitive person, if you don't like having hard discussions, if you don't like people seeing angry, tune out now. But if you want to hear important things be said about an important situation, you're in the right place. So, in case you missed it, we're going to be talking about the killing of a Ukrainian refugee, a young woman who came to this country to escape the war in her country, who was, by as far as I can tell, and the research I've done, ready to become a stand-up, hard-working American. Irina Zarutska, I'm almost definitely saying her name wrong, made the mistake of sitting on a light rail train cart on her way home from work after, from what I believe, was working at a pizza restaurant, bothering nobody, sitting in a train car with her headphones in, just looking at her phone, not doing a damn thing to anyone. And some guy who should have been in prison, probably should have been executed already for other crimes that he had committed, for no discernible reason other than he just hates white people, gets up, stabs her in the neck, slits her neck open, and lets her bleed out right there in the train cart while whispering, "I got that white girl. I got that white girl." We don't know why he did it. Bull crap. He told us why he did it. But this is the case. I'm going to play you the video. Obviously, it's been censored a little bit because this is a very graphic video. The full uncensored video where you see this woman get sliced through the throat and watch her bleed out is available. It's online. It's easy to find. It's on X. If you're a sensitive person, you should not go watch it. But if you can stomach it, you should. Because you need to understand the society that the left is trying to push on us, trying to mandate. They want you defenseless. They want you murdered. There's no other reason. Because that's what happened to her, and it's a direct result of every single policy that the Democrats have ever pushed. They don't want you to be armed. They don't want criminals in prison. They want you forced to take public transit, where you're a victim of all this garbage. Go watch the video. Get pissed off about it. I'm going to play you the censored version so that you know where we're coming from. And you don't throw up, because it is sickening. Here it is. You can see her just sitting there, bothering no one on her phone. Here's the perpetrator right here. Watch this. Right there, it cuts out where he actually goes in, but you can see here, he raises his hand. They cut a few frames. She's been stabbed right here in the neck multiple times. This woman is dead now. She's alive, but she's bleeding out. Look real closely. This is the face of a woman who knows she has died, but hasn't quite bled out yet on this freaking train car. And watch all these people just sitting there doing not a damn thing about it. They do nothing in this corner here. Not a thing. He stands up. He follows the other guy. Look at her. Look at that woman. Do you see her hands in her face? That is a woman who knows she is bleeding out and is going to die. She was murdered on a public train car for no goddamn reason. She did nothing to anybody on that train. And that guy stood up and gutted her like a fish. And she could do not a damn thing about it. Except sit there and bleed. You should be furious. You should hate people because of this. Look at her face. Even in this video, you can see the tears on her face. She came to America from Ukraine in wartime because she thought, I can leave this war and I can build a life for myself in what's supposed to be a free and safe country. And what did she get for her trouble? Stabbed in the throat by a man who should have been in prison for life, if not executed already for various other crimes. I told you you should hate people. That's probably the wrong word. You should have righteous anger at this woman right here because she did it. This woman has blood on her hands. This is Teresa Stokes. She's an appointed magistrate judge. She was not elected by any goddamn body. She was appointed to be a judge, and she let this man, who had already been arrested 14 times, out with no bail. She just let him walk out of jail. And this is what we get. He walks right out of jail for free, no bail, onto this train and stabs this woman in the neck. Why? No reason other than she's white. And I'm not just making that up. I'm not race baiting. I've been called a lot of things in my life, but never a race baiter. He said that. There's audio. You can find it. I might play it in the next segment if I can dig it up. It's all over X of him going, I got that white girl. And the left will say, oh, but mental health. He had a mental health crisis. I don't care. If you're so mentally unstable that you can't so much as sit on a train car with a woman who's a different color than you without stabbing her in the throat? You need to be in prison for life. If not just executed. Because there's a strong case to be made that the taxpayers shouldn't be burdened with your life just to keep you from murdering people. This is disgusting. Thankfully, a lot of representatives in North Carolina have now signed this letter calling for her to be removed. Great job, guys. Now that she's let the guy out who killed a woman, now we're getting to it. Now we're solving the problem. Now that she's already let a career criminal stab a young woman in the throat and kill her, now we'll get this lady removed. Good job. Here's the guy. In 2020, Mecklenburg County was awarded for its second grant in the amount of $1 million from the MacArthur Foundation as part of the Safety and Justice Challenge to continue supporting the county's efforts to develop and implement strategies capable of positively impacting the main drivers of the local jail population. So essentially, they got a $3 million grant to reduce their jail population. The result of that is this guy, and here's all of his mugshots. Count them with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 2, 14 mugshots. This guy was let out of prison and killed her for no discernible reason except she's white. That's what the left has been pushing, right? You wanted soft on crime. You wanted bail reform. We got it. Wasn't worth it. This lady got stabbed in the throat. Riding a train home from work at her job at a pizza station in the United States of America. That is the country we're living in now. Is it worth it? Is not getting called racist for opposing bail reform worth it? Is not getting called racist for supporting defunding the police worth it? That's been their cudgel. We need to open the jails because it's all black people and you're racist if you don't support it. We need to defund the police because they're just rounding up black people and you're racist if you don't support it. And so many people across this country said, I don't want to be racist. Let's let DeCarlo What's-His-Face Jr. out on no bond. Walked out of prison. Stabbed a lady in the throat. I don't know what I can say about this that I haven't already. It's just disgusting. It's despicable. It's so preventable. All we had to do was say, any one of these 14 crimes, you don't get to come out of jail anymore. You clearly are not able to be in society. Go to prison or go to the gallows. How in the world did we get to a point in the country? This is the country that used to hang people for stealing horses. And now you can commit 14 different crimes and then be let out of prison with no bail to go stab a woman in the throat. How the hell did that happen? Who voted for that? This isn't the country we were sold on. This definitely isn't the country that she was sold on. She was told if you come here, you'll be safe from the war in your home and you can build a life for yourself. She was lied to by the Democrats. Damn them all. We're going to be talking about this more. We've got a lot more to cover on this, so stay tuned. We'll be back for one more segment in just a minute. All right. I had mentioned that I kind of thought this young lady, this victim of this ridiculous, preventable, disgusting, probably racially motivated murder, she came to America, as far as I can tell, to become an American. And again, I mentioned this in the last segment. We have sold the entire world on an idea of what the American dream is. You can come here from anywhere. You can work hard and become an American and succeed. That's what we've sold our own people. Work hard and you can succeed. You can have a nice, fulfilling life here in this country. You can become anything you want to be. Unless you get murdered in the neck on public transit. But we've put that message out to the world, and it's one of the reasons we've been so successful. People from all over the world in times of hardship have come to America, not just to suck up on our welfare, but to work hard and become an American. That's what it seems like this Ukrainian girl was doing. So much so that her family has told the authorities here in the United States, no, don't bring her body back to Ukraine. She wanted to be an American. Bury her in America. Here's the U.S. attorney who I guess is taking the lead on this from the federal side, actually making that announcement at a press conference yesterday.
That I hope the family won't mind me sharing, but after Irina's death, the embassy in Ukraine called and said, we'll help you bring her home. And her family said no. They said she loved America. We're going to bury her here. So I think we can give her an America to be proud of. As Mr. Barnacle said, something here is broken, and we're here to fix it.
Something here is very broken because she should have been able to come to America, work hard, and have a good life for herself. She was clearly a hard worker. You can see her, and she got murdered at her pizza place uniform, in her pizza place uniform, on her way home from work, clearly late at night. I don't know the exact time this crime occurred, but it wasn't early in the day. She was coming home from work at a pizza restaurant. You can see it in the video. You can see her uniform. She was clearly a hard worker. She should have been able to build a good life here. She is exactly the type of immigrants we want. Never may it be said I'm anti-immigrant. I'm anti-specific types of immigrants. She's the type of immigrant that I support and want more of. We want people who share our values of hard work and safety to come to this country, work hard, and become Americans. Clearly something she was trying to do before she was freaking murdered. Be mad about this. This is something it's good to be mad about. Anyway, there's been two responses to this. There's been the response from normal people who are pissed off about this and want justice. That's what I want to talk about a little bit here. Here's the U.S. Attorney for the Western District of North Carolina, Russ Ferguson. Just saw him a minute ago. Announcing federal charges against this guy who committed this crime. Take a listen.
As a native of Charlotte, I'm so sad to say that our city has gotten to this place. I was born here. I grew up here. I remember when the light rail was built.
That's the light rail that this woman was murdered on, by the way.
I remember the development it spurred. I remember the excitement. And to think now that you can't even feel comfortable riding that train hits me deep. The light rail brought this city access to jobs, access to education. People could take the train to college. It really put Charlotte on the map. And this incident has really, really injured that. Now, to Carlos Brown Jr., who we allege stabbed Erna Sorutska, is in state custody on first-degree murder charges. But I'm here today to announce that we're going to supplement those state charges with federal charges. These federal charges will go alongside the murder case in state court, and we hope that they will ensure justice for Erna, for her family, and for the whole Charlotte community. The charge we are bringing is in Title 18, which is the criminal code. It's Section 1992A7, which is the law that Congress passed really for this situation. It is an act of violence on a mass transportation system. It is a law that is there because acts like this affect the American way. It affects our daily life. It is random acts on a train that are the thoroughbred and how we get through our cities to work, to our places of education, to our families. It is our way of American life. Crime makes people stop taking that light rail. They give up those opportunities, and we are here to be sure that we can save our city and bring those opportunities back.
That's exactly what you want to see. You want to see everybody throwing the book. Anyone with a little bit of jurisdiction should hit this man with any charge they can come up with. Make sure that if he gets out of that local jail again, he goes into a federal one. I believe, a hate crime investigation is also underway right now. And that kind of gets to another major aspect of this. There is a racial aspect here. A lot of people are uncomfortable saying that because it's been made taboo. We have to talk about it because if we don't, more people are going to die. And frankly, that's what I'm more concerned about here. All the evidence seems to point to the fact that this black man killed this white woman just because she was white. The left will try to blackmail you and tell you that there's no evidence of that. Clearly, there's enough for federal authorities to investigate it. I don't think I have the time to play that announcement, but here it is. You can find it. I'll repost it right now. Benny Johnson posted the video. So it's out there. Go watch it. Van Jones got on CNN and he said that Charlie Kirk was one of the ones to point this out yesterday, that there is a racial aspect here. Van Jones says there's no evidence of that. Take a listen.
We don't know why that man did what he did. And for Charlie Kirk to say, we know he did it because she's white, when there's no evidence of that, it's just pure race mongering, hate mongering.
It's not race mongering. It's not hate mongering. We do know it was racially motivated, and we do have evidence of it. Here he is, right after he stabbed her, by the way, walking around on this train saying, I got that white girl. I told you I'd play you the audio. Here it is. It's kind of hard to make out over the kind of background noise because this is a CCTV camera, but you can hear him say it. I got that white girl. There's no evidence this was racially motivated? You know what? I don't give a damn. Call me whatever you like. There he is saying it right there. I got that white girl. Flip the races for me. Let's do this little thought exercise. If a white man stabs a black girl in the neck on public transit and then does laps around the train going, I got that black girl, is that racist? Clearly it is. There is no evidence that this wasn't racially motivated. What's even more gross is the fact that there were immediately GoFundMes for this guy. GoFundMe pulls horrific fundraisers for ex-con DeCarlos Brown. What do you mean ex-con? Active con, right now. Accused of murdering Ukrainian refugee on train, GoFundMe has yanked sickening online fundraisers for the maniac accused of murdering Ukrainian refugee on a North Carolina train. Fundraising pages suggested DeCarlos Brown Jr., a career criminal with no fewer than 14 arrests, is just a victim. Helping the 35-year-old homeless suspect would also support the fight against the, quote, racism and bias against our people. This is disgusting. This man is not a victim. This man is the perpetrator. While what happened on the Blue Line was a tragedy, we mustn't lose sight of the fact that DeCarlos Brown Jr. was failed categorically by the judicial system. Really? He was? The 14-time career criminal who murdered this woman on a train for no damn reason. He's the one that was failed by the justice system. Not the woman who was stabbed in the neck by a guy that had been in prison 14 times and let out on no bail. The guy that killed her, that's the one that was failed by the justice system. Have you lost your goddamn mind? And the answer is yes. The left has. They don't give a damn about public safety. They don't give a damn about you. They care about the agenda. And they will call you racist if you challenge their agenda. I don't care anymore. This is wrong. Allowing this is wrong. That's all I got for you. I hope the Sunday show is better than this one because this was a hard topic and it's not a fun show. And I'm sorry to bring it to you, but it's important. We had to talk about it. Hopefully we'll have something better. Sunday 7, AM 950 KPRC. I'll see you there.